everybody, Ben here for the Bonehead podcast, and welcome to Top 5 Friday. On a Friday, we get together and we have a look at the top 5 things normally to do with Blood Bowl. And again, we're kicking off this year with some goals and some stuff. And on this show, generally speaking, we never tell you what to do. We're here to advise, we're here to point out, we're here to share cool things that we enjoy, but we never say you should do this or whatever. Except for today. These are my top 5 Blood Bowl things that I think you should do this year. If you like Blood Bowl, doing these 5 things will make you fall in love with it. And if you like Blood Bowl, these 5 things, quite frankly, any of them, especially number 1, will make you just fall deeper in love with this beautiful game. Number 5, play a Stunty team. Now, I'm personally thinking, right, you know what? I was going to say play gnomes. This was going to be number 5 thing because they're new, they're shiny, they're different, they're interesting. But actually, I've thought about it and I don't care. Just play a Stunty team. Now, you might be sitting there thinking, I already play Stunty, Ben, I love Stunties. Or I hate the idea of playing Stunties. But there's so much you can get from running this team of misfits. Like whether you're going for gnomes where you've got a cool bunch of badgers and geese and stuff that's just nonsensical with a couple of big trees and some foxes that are sharp little gutter runners. You've got goblins that are just full of machines of death. You've got the fanatic, you've got a pair of trolls, you've got a doom diver, you've got a chainsaw, you've got a bomber. Like there's a cool amount of stuff. Whether you're wrestling, jump upping with the gnomes, whether you are special weaponing with the goblins, whether you are just trying to herd a 6-pack of meatheads with the ogre team. Oh gosh, then there's snotlings. Snotlings I love. Like I mained snotlings for a bit. I took them to some tournaments for a bit. And I love snotlings. And I also very much love halflings. Halflings are a really cool one where your minions can do limited amount of stuff, but you tend to bring a couple of star players, which is where that team gets really interesting. So the point here, pick a Stunty team that you've not played or that you can see the allure of. Or if not, just roll a dice and pick one and play one. You don't have to run it for a whole league. You don't have to spend the whole year going to tournaments with it, but get some games in with a team. If you can finish a few games with that team or even one and say, I hated that, you've still learned some stuff. I don't think that's how it's going to go. You're going to put on the pitch, you're going to play your guys, and what it's going to teach you, because this is going to teach you stuff about Blood Bowl. Not only is it going to be fun because Snotlings is just the pressure's off. Like there's no expectation that you're going to win. So it encourages you to see those stretch plays, to see the extra stuff where you can be like, all right, it's 4 3+s, but if I swing it, that's epic because my halfling catcher is going to get a touchdown. Like, okay, I've got my Snotling, it's movement 5, but I've dodged Titchy, so it's 2++++. We'll set this up, and I'll set up a 2-dice Snotling blitz, or I'm going to hop into a cage on a 3+ and just go for it. There's a lot of stuff there that you can kind of expand on the pitch. If you're a good Blood Bowl player, if you're a medium player, if you're starting out, like, it's all formulaic on the pitch. Stunties take that and they go the combo route. There's just always plays on the pitch with Stunties that you might not see if you're just playing a standard Blood Bowl team. Moreover than that, and this is the thing I really love, is if you play a couple of games with them, if you do a short league with them, or if simply you just play a few match plays, there will be a couple of players on that team that start to speak to you. I don't mean that literally, and if that happens, then please seek medical attention. I mean, well, you saw it, right? In the Bonehead Championship previously, we had wizard sleeves and trumpets and all these guys that just kept doing cool stuff and they build an identity. And it's a really cool thing about Blood Bowl that we can step away from. We can learn to forget quite quickly because you're like, well, as long as I've got 4 players that are like blitzers, I don't really care what they are, who they are, where they come from, what they look like. Stunty's different. You've got such low expectations of all your players that actually you start to key into them, and it will reinvest that bit of Blood Bowl with you that is like, oh, I'm telling a story. Oh, I've got a team here of underachievers. We are underdogs, and this guy did great. This guy did great. And I think not only are you going to learn different options on the pitch, you're going to kind of reinvest a little bit into the story element of Blood Bowl. And that's why my number 5 is play a Stunty team. Number 4, play vampires. So vampires dropped last year, year before. Bloodlust got reimagined. They got new positionals everywhere. Vampires are a very potent team, but they're also really challenging. Now, there's a couple of other teams I can also put in this category. Slann, interesting team, and Renegades. Basically, any one of those 3 teams that has a really unique way of playing. Renegades' unique way of playing is that everybody's bad, but they're all kind of burly and big. Vampires is technically that everyone's bad, but they've got some really good players that sometimes work. And Slann is that everyone's overcosted, but sometimes they can fly. So I'm picking vampires for this because there's a couple of things here. One, oh my god, it will teach you how to prioritize. It might not the first game. And again, very much like the Stunty thing. I'm not saying play it for a whole year, but actually if you've never played vampires before, use the opportunity, grab a vampire team, proxy a vampire team, and get them to the pitch. You may not love them, and that's cool too. But there's going to be some elements where you have a few turns in a row where stuff plays out, and you're like, oh, these guys can go. And that, I think, is the lesson here, is that if you can learn how to compensate for your team's negative bits, and you can get them to click, you can switch up that percentage of efficiency, and just the joy of being like, oh, it's worked, oh, this has gone well, okay, we're going to do this, okay, cool. And it's a really, really unique Blood Bowl challenge. Like, any one of those teams have got their own unique challenges. I like vampires because the bloodlust is really difficult to work around sometimes it's going to leave you hanging, but again, it's going to teach you how to compensate on the pitch. It's going to teach you how to prioritize on the pitch. And you know what? Sometimes you can just let loose with them, don't roll any bloodlusts, and you've got the Varg just chomping dudes, you've got your blitzers blitzing, you've got the thrower making some outrageous plays, and the runner just doing a really cool job. It's a really great team. It's got so much theme, and it's got so much potential. And here's the other thing. It will be very useful for you to know how vampires work, because you're going to come up against them, whether you're a league, whether you play tournaments, and eventually, I don't think they're online just yet, but they're going to be coming to Blood Bowl 3, right? So you're going to have to play it. And learning about how to prioritize Bloodlust, how to play against that team, and then how to play around Hypnogaze, huge. And that's the other beautiful thing. That's why vampires are my pick in that category, is Hypnogaze is just another thing, it's another tool that you need to learn to use. And it's just going to teach you how to play against it. It's just a really cool team that plays together. We've got loads of games with them. They're in the last Bonehead Championship, and we played a few match play sort of vampire games when they first dropped. Right, they are a ton of fun. Again, your guys are going to build up character, but it's one of the teams that is mostly about you as the coach. So the Stunty team is mostly about the Stunty players and the star players, but the Vampire team is mostly about you as a coach having a very challenging Blood Bowl puzzle to solve. And it's just some different negatraits, some different positives. It's just a really cool puzzle, and it's going to help you. It will help you learn about Blood Bowl, and it will just embolden you to kind of try different ways of playing. And vampires are a ton of fun. Renegades also a team you got to work around their negatraits, and Slann, again, you got a different way to play. So I guess my number 4 is play vampires, or play a team that plays a very unique way, because you're going to learn stuff, and I guarantee you will have fun from it. Number 3, go to a tournament. Now, you may be sitting there thinking, I'm not a Blood Bowl tournament player. I hate the idea of going to tournaments for Wargaming, tournaments for Magic the Gathering. It's all sweaty misery. It's not. That's not how Blood Bowl tournaments work. Erase the word tournament from your mind and have it as a game day in your head. You're going there to play 3 or 4 games of Blood Bowl. Tournaments are a fantastic opportunity to get to learn a team. If you're part of a local league and you play twice a month and you have 4 or 5 month long seasons, it can really suck to pick a team and run it out in the league, and 2 months in you're just like, I'm not enjoying this team, I'm not enjoying this very much, the play style is not quite right, or I've developed them whatever. Tournament, you can take that team that you've never played before, you're going to get 3 games in. It's a Swiss, all Blood Bowl tournaments basically are Swiss, so if you lose the first game, you're going to get paired up with somebody else who lost their first game, so the chances are you're going to end up playing with somebody who has a similar skill or a similar understanding with of their team as you do with yours. So if you want to bust out OWA and you've never played them before, I mean, obviously learn what the team does before, but you know, your first game, you may not get a good angle on them. You might lose. The second game, you have a better idea of how to play them. You can share stories with your opponents while you do it. And then the third game, you will have a much better idea of how to play them. So it's like a one-day crash course in a team. And again, it's a really cool way to learn more about your team. But that is the tip of the iceberg. Tournaments for Blood Bowl are just such a cool moment in the community. Everybody there is there to play Blood Bowl. Everybody there loves playing Blood Bowl. And you will be able to speak this universal Blood Bowl language of misery, dice, and team builds. You rock up. If anyone there is there to play Blood Bowl, you can just be like, what are you running today? What are you running today? Not even, hello, my name is. Just be like, all right, mate, what are you running today? Hey there, what are you running today? Because you will immediately bond. You'll share your stories, you'll share the team tactics, and it's just a really fun thing. There is an overall vibe of competition, but it's really low because, generally speaking, there's one person who's going to win. In bigger events, there might be the top 3 win. You might have somebody going for Stunty. There's all these individual stories, but you're there to play games with other people who are there to play games. And it is one game. It is Blood Bowl. You are all there. You've taken time out of your lives to come and throw some dice and play some games. And you are going to have fun, you are going to have challenges, and you're going to be able to talk about it with loads of people. You can go on your own. You will make friends. You will absolutely positively make friends at a Blood Bowl tournament. It is the best place. I cannot wait for Beachhead. It's coming up in just about a month's time. We've got Bonehead Bowl at the end of the year as well. So if you want to come to a tournament, I recommend one of those 2 at the very least. Like, if you don't know where else to go, but there are so many Blood Bowl tournaments out now, just go along. There are very few tryhards in Blood Bowl because Blood Bowl is so swingy. It's so fun. Come down to a tournament. It's just, I cannot recommend it enough. Number 2, paint a team. Now, this might be linked to one of the other 3. You might be like, oh, actually, I'm going to try out goblins. Or, oh, yeah, I'm definitely going to pick up a vampire team. Paint a team. If you're going to go to a tournament, it's a great opportunity. You can tie these 3 things together. I'm going to take vampires, I'm going to go to a tournament, and I'm going to paint my team ready. Paint one team this year. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if you ever use it. The benefit you'll get is from doing the task. You may hate painting, and that's cool. Like, obviously you don't do something you hate, but Blood Bowl looks better painted. Blood Bowl looks better primed with the color. And just stage by stage. We're going to be talking about hobby productivity on the next podcast, because something this year we're all kind of doing some different stuff to make sure that getting stuff done in the hobby is easier, because you sit around and you look at all the stuff that's unpainted and it can be miserable. But it doesn't have to be. Paint one team. Just give it a go. If you started out with painting, do you know what? Look up our quick pass method. It's a very easy way to get your teams a bit more colourful and a bit more ready for the pitch. And I guarantee you that investment that you will have in your team will triple at least when you get your team colours down. There is something about it. That team is mine. Like, I've designed this, whether someone else has painted it, whether I've painted it, I've picked the colour scheme. And the colour scheme I've picked is because of this. It's because actually I like these 2 colours. I think these 2 colours are going to go well on this team. I like this local sports team that has those 2 colours. Or I've gone into the Warhammer lore, looked at Reichland, and my team is from a town near Reichland, so we've gone with the purple and white of the Reichland State Troopers, and that's why. It's awesome to build up that story of your team. But hey, I guarantee you, you put some paint on your models, you'll feel like you're doing some stuff. And it's a great way to play Blood Bowl when you can't play Blood Bowl. If you're thinking about your team, if you're designing their names, if you're designing their backstory, if you're just picking the models you want to do, if you're gluing the models, if you're painting the models, you're investing in your team. You're just kind of enjoying your hobby when you can't even game. And I cannot recommend it enough. I've already painted a ton of models this year. It's only 2 weeks in, and it's really making me happy at the moment. I've nearly finished my dwarf team. Look at my little troll slayers there, just having a great day. That one has got an eye patch. It's just cool. Like, I've brought those models to life. I've had them for 4-5 years. And I'm finally getting them painted, and it's just so much cooler to have the team painted than not. Surprise. And number one of the things I think you should do in Blood Bowl this year is play some sevens. Yep, surprise. I love sevens. We're just wrapping up the 7 Super Series, and I mean, it's every game of sevens is just quicker, and there's just so many reasons you should play sevens. First of all, it's a great swingy game. Okay, it's less mentally stressful than 11s. It's shorter by a long way than 11s. You've got less players, so it's easier to paint a team for it. There's more repetition. Of an evening, of a casual evening, you can play 1 11s game, so you can play 2 or 3 sevens games. That means you can get more different teams tried out. Now, 7s doesn't directly correlate to 11s, and if you're going to do a league, then I would suggest that you use it as kind of like a precursor for 11s. If you're doing the whole league thing, then using 7s as a precursor to 11s is, I think, the best way to do it. Or you use skill progressions like we do in the last series of 7 Super Series, or you do match play builds, so you can get a team, you can get some players, you can try out some skills on them. There's that element to 7s. There's another element to 7s that it is just mad fun. There's not a lot of rerolls, so it's all kind of like, oh, let's roll this, oh, let's roll this. You can play it tight, but it's swingy, it's dynamic, and it's casual fun. 45 minutes to an hour if you're playing at a slow clip for 7s. Have a friend come round, meet somebody at a coffee shop, go to a game store, get some 7s in. It's just Blood Bowl, and it's Blood Bowl in a different way. And I think the best thing about 7s is you get that Blood Bowl scratch. It builds up my passion every time I play 7s. And it seems to do this for everybody I know who plays some 7s. They go away thinking, I want to play more Blood Bowl. Whether it's, oh, I love that, I want to play some more 7s, or, ooh, I really liked how my dwarf team played in 7s. It would be really cool to use some of that strategy or some of the things that played out like in 11s as well. That would be really interesting to do. It will either solve a problem very quickly, which is like, I don't like this team, or it will inspire you to be like, oh yeah, all right, I want to play some full 11s Blood Bowl now with this team, because I've played a couple of 7s matches with them. I like how they go, and I want to apply what I've learned and what I've enjoyed to a bigger game, a longer game, more of an investment. So I cannot recommend playing 7s enough. It's not super competitive. We've tried playing 7s at tournaments. I love playing 7s at tournaments, and I love running 7s tournaments, but it's got such a different vibe. You play 7s to play 7s. Sometimes you play Blood Bowl 11s to win, but you play 7s to play. And I think the theory and the vibe of 2025 is do stuff because doing stuff is good. We are here in this world to do things. Playing 7s for the sake of playing 7s is never a feel-bad moment. Sometimes playing a full 11s game, when you're not playing a tournament, you're not playing a league, you're not trying out a roster for a specific thing, it can feel a bit of a muchness because there's quite an investment of time. You're like, I'm going to play this game for 2.5 hours. But there's something about 7s, I think it's because it's quicker, because it's punchier. It gets that vibe from when you were younger. You were like, play a game, let's rack it up again. Or, oh, this time you have this guy. This time I'll try this guy. Like that reset, try again. I think 7s just leaves you wanting to play a bit more. And this year, that's just such a solid goal to have. So if you're feeling like you want to get some more Blood Bowl action on the go, try out 7s. I guarantee you that there will be hardly anybody who's played Blood Bowl that says, yeah, I don't mind coming around, having a drink, having a cup of tea, playing some 7s. It's just a great fun way to play 7s, and it only takes 45 minutes, an hour, or 35 minutes if you're Richard Saxby. So yes, number 1, play 7s. Number 2, paint a team. Number 3, find a tournament and go to it. Number 4, try a unique playstyle team like vampires. And number 5, go and get the underdogs to the pitch. Play some stunties. I guarantee you, if you do any of those, your love, your enjoyment of the Blood Bowl hobby will increase. And dudes, it is the middle of January. We've only just started this year. Let's get the Blood Bowl hype train going. Anyway, I'm going to wrap up. Thank you very much for watching. We'll be back soon with more Blood Bowl content. Happy blocking.